Hi, everyone. Welcome to the call today. My name's Laura Farmer, and I have the privilege of interviewing Sharon Reeve and AJ Bondi, who have a team in Canada. And what we're going to be discussing today is how they have just phenomenally built their team from one person. Well, from one person, because AJ was the first person to sign up. And he actually signed up from a connection through YouTube. Is that correct, AJ?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
And so I'm going to just kind of just ask you, AJ, how you got started to begin with. And I know that then you brought in Sharon. If you can give us a little bit of background there, and actually a little background on what you do.
All right. Yeah. Well, I got started, as you said. I saw somebody presented to me the RevVcard video on YouTube, and I looked at that, and actually, it took about 2 minutes for me. So I could see the vision. I guess I'm somewhat of a visionary, and I could see the vision of this thing, and I just said, "Sign me up right away." And as we got started, I was able to sign up a few people right away and started looking at the material online that was available and downloading presentations and stuff. And because I have an office and a meeting room, we were able to start meetings within a couple weeks after I got started up. So it was really good. But just you were asking about myself and a little bit about my background too. And I can say that when I started, like, one thing I want to say is now is the right time, and a lot of times we have other conflicting things in our lives and things like that. I know there might be many on the call today that have a lot of things going on, and I've heard people say, well, I haven't got time right now. But I'll tell you, when I started, I have 2 other business going, and I'm also the senior pastor of a local church here. And we were in the middle of a whole house reno when I got started. So I know what it's like to be busy. But the important part is get started. And, we've all got the same amount of time. We all got 24 hours in the day. So we just got to say, well, okay, what part of that day can I commit to this business? And at the time, I was traveling a lot out of town, and I was able to make it to get home for the meetings on Thursday nights. So we started off Thursday nights. So we committed to that, to do that every week. Actually, Sharon and I talked about it right from the beginning to say, well, should we do it every couple of weeks or whatever? But there's something about consistency, right? Mm-hmm. So we decided, no, we're going to do this every week. So for the first several weeks, we were able to have the meeting, and then I got called out of town on a meeting night. So, Sharon had been there faithfully, and she's going to talk a little bit about bringing people to the meeting and that too. And she'd been in the group every week and watching the presentation. So about the 5th week in, I had to be away for that week. And she stepped up right away and said, okay, no problem. I'll do the meeting. Let's not stop the meeting. Let's do the meeting anyway.
So Sharon, tell me, I mean, I know that you're a nurse.
Correct.
And you work crazy long hours. And AJ approached you with this, and tell me what your whole philosophy is about, well, because I mean, obviously you didn't have a bunch of people to start the meetings with, and that's what everyone's on here for. They all want to know, how in the world can you even start the meetings? Am I just going to be sitting by myself having a meeting, or what is your secrets?
Well, that may happen once or twice, hopefully not. But I had about the same reaction that AJ did when he saw the program. I said right away, sign me up. Although at that time we couldn't even sign up. It took probably several weeks for me to get in. And, I was just so excited about the concept that I basically followed the 3-foot rule. If you get anywhere around me within 3 feet, you're hearing about our network. And so, I'm pretty excited about the business, and I have the good fortune, I thank God for, I have kind of a forward and enthusiastic personality, so that helps. But, you know, also when we committed to the meetings at first, we didn't have a lot of people coming out, but we did have a couple. I actually went through probably, I would say maybe 2.5, 3 months where I never missed having people at every meeting. And it didn't matter what was happening. That was my commitment. I know John talks about sometimes his commitment as a salesperson was he's not going home until he gets a certain number for that day. Well, that was my commitment, was I am not stopping until I have a few people at that meeting. And I don't even like to say that. I'd like to say, you know, 3 or something. For me, working, like you said, as a nurse and doing 3 different shifts, I'm actually a part-time nurse with full-time or better hours. So the only disadvantages of that is that I switch from days to nights to evenings, several times throughout the week even. And so it makes it a little bit challenging to do something like this because you never know what your schedule is, but nothing was going to stop me from having people at the meeting every week. And so, you know, I talked about a little bit about you know, my commitment, anybody that I could get in front of me. Of course, we all have a prospect list, you know, sending out videos and kind of, you know, finding out what people like the most about the video or what was it that interested you about the video, instead of asking questions like, well, what did you think? Or are you interested? I never ask stuff like that. What interests you about it, you know? Mm-hmm. And then from there, I did put a couple ads out in some free, we have one in Canada, I think it's called Kijiji. I don't think that's available in the States.
I haven't heard of it.
It is a free marketplace where you can buy and sell all kinds of things, and they have local job listings or, you know, job listings as well. So I didn't pay for any of these ads. I have probably 3 or 4 directs that came out of these ads, and they were just generic. Actually, I use company language all the time because, as John always says, you always say, if it's fixed, don't break it, right? Don't broke it. So I just put things out there, kind of like a heading would be earn $2,000 to $5,000 extra in passive income. And I never want to earn $400,000 a year because people don't think that's realistic, but everybody wants a couple thousand extra. Mm-hmm. And then I'll do things like, depending on who I'm targeting it to, I might talk about increase your retirement income, do this even if you're a stay-at-home parent, or if you're disabled, depending on who I'm targeting that particular time to. And then in the body of the ad, it's very, very short as well, because I want to do some curiosity marketing. I don't want to, like, I know John always talks about machine gun mouth. Well, we always called it dump the truck. Don't dump the truck. People get buried under all the information, you know? So I would just say something very simple, like be ahead of the curve with this new innovative fintech company. And then I would say, because I've already said that they could earn $2,000 to $5,000 extra in passive income. And then that's all I would put in the body is what I just said to you. And then I'd say something like log in or text. And I'd put my Reb System, you know, log in there, and I put my phone number, my text right on there. You know, I'm okay with people bugging me. You want to start my business? You can call me at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. You know, I don't care when.
And I will say I have answered your call at 5 a.m.
When you're working shifts, you lose track of who's up at what time.
So what category do you typically put those ads in? So it said that, I'm assuming that's kind of like a Craigslist ad, maybe.
Very similar, yeah.
So is there a certain category you would place that under?
Well, because they have different categories, and oftentimes MLMs are excluded. So I certainly don't want to put much about an MLM, you know.
Right.
Because you don't want to get bounced off of the posting, but usually I'll just put it in a job offering, sales, traditionally sales, you know, something like that, or business.
Do you have to pay extra for that, being that it's into that category?
No.
Okay. So everything you pretty much have done has not cost you any money to do this?
That's correct.
Make more money than you spend.
AJ,
I wonder where we've heard that.
AJ often says in our meeting, I've been on the wrong side of that deal for far too long. Now it's time to turn it around, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to talk for just a minute. Sharon, you and I talked last night, and you mentioned something just fascinating to me about the donut shop. Can you just kind of elaborate on that?
Well, as I said, I like the 3-foot rule. Anybody I can talk to, I will. So after I placed these free ads, I did get quite a good response, a number of people, because again, it's curiosity marketing. Everybody wants to know how they can get $2,000 to $5,000 extra. And so, you know, when I receive leads from an ad, I'm not selling the product and I am not dumping the truck. I'm selling a meeting. And so that's what we tell our people all the time. You're not selling product, you're selling a meeting, because our meetings are fairly successful. We've got a pretty high close ratio. And so as soon as I get a response, I'm looking for times. You know, I'm saying, is Wednesday at 3 good for you, or would Thursday morning be better? And so again, you know, I've got a little bit of history in sales. I never ask direct questions that they can say no. Do you want to meet me at the donut shop? No. Where do you go from there? Right? So I always, I got actually a funny story about this, but it is a little bit lengthy. So I won't go into too much detail, but my dad was a salesperson his whole life. And, you know, he had a product that this guy really gave him a hard time through his whole presentation and just complained through the whole presentation. And so my dad was just used to alternative closes, like I just said to you. And, you know, went through the whole thing and he was angry at the end too. And he said, they come in red or blue, which one do you want? And the guy said, blue. And so it taught me something about alternate closes.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you go into a restaurant and the menu is just massive and you have no idea now what you just came in for a cheeseburger and now there's all these different varieties. Keep it simple.
That's right. And also, you know, just give them one choice or the other, and they can't say no. You know, if you say, is Wednesday afternoon at 3 good for you, or would Thursday morning be better? They're thinking of an alternative. They're not thinking no.
And so when you met with them, what did you typically start with?
Well, what I did is I printed off the tear sheet, and I also printed off, you know, we have the PDFs on the affiliates and all those good pages that we have. I would just go through the presentation just like we do a live presentation, but I do it with paper in a binder, you know, a leather binder. And I just kind of go through that a little bit. And they had already seen, maybe they'd seen one video or something of we had that little RevVcard one that we used to use at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And so they might have.
Did you ever put the RevVcard video in an ad?
No, I didn't, because I lean more towards curiosity. I want them calling me saying, what's this all about?
What is this? Yep. Yeah.
Develop
So
a dialogue with the people and you can continue, you know.
let's talk a little bit about your community and developing that.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
that's a big part, I think, with the meetings that really got us started, is developing that community atmosphere. And it takes a lot of the pressure off of people that aren't used to talking to people and you know, just came in and don't really know too much about how to talk to people about it. So it just takes the pressure off of that. And what we do is we develop a community atmosphere, as well as having the meetings and trying to make everybody a part of the meetings, and just really being there for each other and, you know, encouraging one another and empowering people. You know, that's what it's all about. So as we see what's in them and give them a little bit of something to do, they feel a part of it. We also started up our messenger group at the same time that we could talk to each other and just encourage one another. So that's a big part of it.
I will say regarding your messenger group, I mean, I am in that group, and it is a very active, positive group. I mean, for someone to leave that, I wouldn't imagine why anyone would ever leave your group.
Well, we do have fairly good retention. It's quite high, actually over 90%. And, you know, we have a very, very positive group, as you were saying. And I
Yes.
think, you know, that starts from our leadership, from John and yourself, and certainly AJ, you know, and, you know, being a pastor, that helps us as well. We have although we don't have a lot of people from our church involved, it's the principles that are very consistent with the principles of the network, as far as losing your life in the betterment of others. And that's just our commitment to our group. Sometimes you're tired, or, you know, we all know these things, and you just got to push through, because we owe everybody the best opportunity possible, you know. And we're very thankful for our group. You know, Laura, you're quite gracious to us in saying, you know, about how well our group has developed. But I don't want to, you know, anyone to think that AJ and I have done this. Like, we have great people in our group, you know, many. I hesitate to name names because you always leave someone out, you know.
Exactly.
But we've got wonderful buildings.
You definitely do. I mean, and you have several in your group already that do have tin in the pin. So
Yes.
you are instilling in them the vision. And, you know, and this is coming from Canada, because you are in Canada and you don't have all of the products that the US has. And you've been able to maintain that with that retention, I mean, which is just amazing. So I know that you guys are doing it right with the whole vision.
Well, we do talk about vision a lot. And, you know, I always say there's only one thing that's worse than not having product, and that is using that for an excuse. Who needs product? No. Yeah. Eventually, we believe in the company. We believe that we'll have more product one day, you know. But, you know, the vision is so great. It's so wonderful. And AJ and I worked together quite a bit on the meeting after I took over, when he was gone for one meeting. We started to talk about doing a collaborative effect at the meeting. And actually, our group just loves the fact that we tag team a little. And, you know, we have a lot of fun with our meetings. We kind of beat on each other a little bit, you know, and it's a little bit of fun. But, you know, as far as vision, because we don't focus on product, we talk about vision because we sell what we have.
Exactly.
And, you know, so AJ does talk a little bit, opens up the meeting. I introduce him, and then he talks a little bit about the founding members, the things that we always have to talk about, our product and that, but we don't spend a lot of time on that. AJ says that stuff is really cool. But he says, that's not why we're here. Sharon's going to tell you why we're here.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a big part of it. You know, we sell what we have, which is vision. And we always tell people we can't even understand how fortunate that we are to be where we are at the beginning stages of this company. It's just an amazing opportunity that we have, and it's really great to be a part of it. You know?
You guys are definitely a tag team duo. You both have your strengths and your weaknesses, and you just swap off where one is stronger. So that's excellent. I don't know if I mentioned in the very beginning, the Sharon and AJ are actually brother and sister. So I want to make sure before people start asking questions about that. So, and also I want to say within the chat group that there was a statement made by Ricardo, which is, you know, maybe really important for us all to know, is there is a website. It's www.thefreeadforum.com, where you can, or free global classified ads. So that may be just a little bit of an option. I know you won't see that in the chat when this recording comes out, so I wanted to make sure that I just repeated that here. And of course, you know, our fearless leader, you know, John, posting his number 9 lesson in becoming a 7-figure earner. Let's see here. Matt says, a good opening for new prospects. Do you keep your options open at all on making some additional income outside of your current employment? I think that's maybe just I'm not sure if that's a question or if he's making a statement there.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to present an ad. You know, he's asking, first of all, actually, you know what? I really love the way he said that. And because he's saying, do you keep your options open? Nobody
Yes.
on God's green earth is going to say, no, I'm a closed-minded idiot. No, there's a way to frame a question, and he got exactly what I was talking about. There's a way to frame it so that you have more positive responses, you know?
Yeah, I think it's good. You know, we usually try and direct things that way too. Even in our meetings, we don't talk about signing people up as a general rule. We would phrase it like everybody knows 3 people that want to save money, right? You know, instead of you want to sign up 3 people, right?
Well, yeah, right. Yeah. So one of the questions here is they'd like to know where you're advertising in. Well, I think you did mention that it's not something that we have here in the States, I don't think.
It's very similar to the Craigslist in the States. You know, it's a free advertising forum. So.
And then it's and you guys are in Windsor, Canada. I do want to point that out too.
Right.
One thing I wouldn't mind sharing, Laura, because I really feel this is a big piece, is about the vision, about developing the vision.
Yeah.
You know, we touched on that, but you were actually asking me another question, and that's why I didn't go into detail about that. But we have 3 specific pieces that we use in our meeting that develops visionary thinking in people. And so if you're okay with that, I wouldn't mind sharing some of those.
Please. No, I think I've heard you say it. Go ahead. It's really good.
So I'm going to let AJ start because he does the Costco piece.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of different analogies in the Costco scenario that are really good for us. You know, it really helps to bring it down to a place where people can relate to, you know. Costco, most people know about Costco. Costco is open in 9 countries. Actually, they just opened their 9th country, was China this year. And 2 things about Costco. One is, you know, they're offering something of value, which is a savings, right? So the retention rate that they have is unheard of. They have an 85% renewal rate on their memberships. Now, it's not always the most convenient way to shop. They don't have a very broad spectrum of product. And sometimes you've got to buy the product and split it up with all your neighbors and friends to make it make sense. But it's still offering something of value. They're offering savings, right? So people renew their memberships every year. Now, you can't compare Costco to what we have. We have a far more vast platform of products and services, and it's getting bigger all the time, you know. The other thing notable about Costco is they're only open in 9 countries, and they have 93 million members. So when you think about that, we're open in over 80 countries already, and we have a far more diverse product background and more savings for everybody. So it's a real no-brainer. You know, when you look at it, that just helps you get your mind around it, right? When you think about, wow, if they're open in only 9 countries and they have 93 million members, that's why I say we have no idea how fortunate we are to be where we are right now with the company. We're open in over 80 countries. Once this thing goes public, which is happening very, very quickly, it's going to go crazy, you know? So that's part of the first part of what we talk about, the vision and things like that in the meeting. And we do because we don't have a lot of product here, we do talk about what we do have, which is our perks and our travel. So we talk a little bit about the perks and the travel, and then we have people share celebrate their savings, right? So we've got all kinds of, we had one guy in our group just last week that got a 6-day Caribbean cruise for $99, you know, or $199, sorry, yeah. And, we have people share the different savings they have and all that. But then really before I hand it over to Sharon, I usually say, you know, all that stuff is really cool and it's neat to save money, but it's not why we're here. The reason we're here is because of the opportunity that we have. And then Sharon goes into, I'll let Sharon share what she goes into about that.
So I do a little piece on MLM marketing. And, you know, what I did is I just pulled up a Google search on highest earners in MLM marketing. And I'm not sure, but I think Canada might be a little more conservative regarding network marketing than the States is. That's just my thought, that we don't have people join as readily as in the States, and they consider it very, very strong. So I do tell them about the love-hate relationship that most of us have with MLM marketing, right? And John has explained to everyone all the problems there is and all the gotchas, the binaries. I love the fact that I learned about binaries. Who wants to get paid on 50% of their efforts at best, right? Doesn't make any sense to me. So, you know, we talk about some of these things, and the Google search that I did was just highest earners in MLM marketing. And what I love that, because it's not specific to our company, but it just shows people multi-millionaires in multi-level marketing. So I always tell them, no matter what you feel about it, it's a viable way that commerce is transacted across the world. And if you're not familiar with it, it doesn't mean that it's not used, you know, constantly throughout the world, and that people are, it's a way of flipping the corporate money back into the hands of the individual. But we have a love-hate relationship because we want to see ourselves, you know, making this a higher income, but most of us can't do it because we're bound by the whatever company we're in, some binary or whatever the gotchas are in those companies. And so I just tell people, if you stick with it, last through the meeting, you're going to see why this is so different than any MLM you've ever seen before. We're going to show you something that's so different. And right now you're saying, I've heard this before. But I want to tell you, you've never heard this before. So, you know, we just kind of go into that a little bit and kind of get them okay, hopefully, with networking if they had some questions about that. And then I go into the story of Ray Kroc. So most people have heard about Ray Kroc, and whether you love him or hate him, you know, there's some issues with what his vision was. And he had a single-minded vision to build outlets. And so he had a product base that was very, very small, maybe similar to what we have in Canada, Big Mac, Coke, and fries. And people will get all excited and come to him and say, you know what, Ray, we can increase your bottom line by 20%. All you need to do is market this mushroom burger. It's got cheese and mushrooms and it's so good, everybody wants it. And you know what he said to him? Big Mac, fries, and Coke. And they did the same thing. And I go into several products, you know, and he just kept saying Big Mac, fries, and Coke. And he built outlets, and he built outlets, and he built outlets. And he had outlets all over North America. And one day he decided to come out with an English muffin. And on that day, there was more English muffins sold on that day by McDonald's than any other company had ever done in the history of any company. And every product they ever come out with, they're the largest producer of that product on the first day. Why? Because he built outlets. That's what it's all about, is building outlets.
Building network, yes.
Yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of visionary pieces that we do that, you know, because if we don't have a ton of product, we have to build vision. We sell what we have.
And I mean, and something else that we were talking about last night, you know, we're talking about how you go about talking with people, not just about, you know, the material things that you want to share or whatever, but it's how you actually do it. If you guys did not notice at all how drawn in you were when Sharon was so enthusiastic because of her belief in our network, I mean, that is the key. It is about how you're delivering, correct, Sharon?
I think so. You know, I was telling Laura this, you know, and I've mentioned this. I don't like to talk about myself too much. I'm blessed with a forward personality, I would say. It took years to calm me down, believe it or not. This is the calm down version.
Yeah, I'd say we're totally opposite personalities too. I'm much more introverted than she is, and you know, I have a general rule for myself. It's not that this has been my comfort zone, but I have a rule, and that's if you're afraid, do it afraid until you're comfortable, you know. So, you know, we keep moving forward with what we have. And
yes, AJ, I'm quite certain that with all that you do with our network and get up there in front of people and speak, that was never really your forte to do, but the changes that you've realized within yourself must, just by those alone, must be huge blessings for you.
oh, absolutely. Yes. Like I say, it changes your whole personality, you know, when you get out there. And like I say, you know, if you never try something or you never step into anything that you don't know, you're never going to grow. So, you know, it's a lot easier for me now than it used to be. And we're learning all the time. We have amazing, as Sharon mentioned earlier, we have some amazing people that are actually marketers in our group now. Teresa and Juanita and some others, you know.
Nellie, and you know, there's so many.
Yeah, we just encourage one another and empower one another and draw off of one another's strengths. You know, we don't have to know it all, but we have to stay in the game and keep going and draw from each other, right? You know.
Absolutely.
Well, we're so blessed with the leadership that we have, you know, and I don't want to put the focus on us without, you know, there's two parts to this. We're just in the middle. There's a great downline and there's a great upline, and we are the beneficiaries of both, you know.
I think that, I mean, at this time, you know, because, you know, the time that it is right now, I think I want to just maybe open it up for questions for people that might have some questions. I noticed also in the group chat that Matt Fox posted some links in there for where you can do free ads. I really appreciate that, Matt. So if you wanted to like copy that before we end the Zoom also, anything within that Zoom, the Zoom chat, please copy it and put it on your desktop or on your phone in your notes or something so that you can reference that. But I do want to go ahead and open it up for questions. And so unmute yourselves, but when you're done with the question, please mute yourself again.
Hello. Hi, Yvette. How are you?
Very good.
I'm trying to share the video so you can see who I am.
Okay, we got you.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm in the car. I just got through with the job interview, by the way, that I didn't want to take, but I need to take this until our network takes off. I love this company. I just started. Just tomorrow will be a week. I think it'll be a week, and I see the vision. I saw the vision from the beginning. I'm very much interested in placing ads, like you just described, and I was just talking about that earlier this morning with the online marketer that I'm working with. And so as far as what you think would really attract people to the ads, you just think that curiosity was one of your main points. And you said you didn't say too much. You didn't mention the company at all. Is that correct?
Yes, I don't mention the company because they have a tendency to look it up online and, you know, they may hear something that's not true or not valid. Right. But more important than that, you're going to lose your lead because there's many people online that are marketing. And so you want them to contact you. So if you do some curiosity posting, what's this all about? You're the only one they know that knows about this from that perspective. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes. And in your meetings, I'm very much interested in meetings. We have something called Eventbrite here in the U.S. where you can post a meeting that's going on. You can call it anything you want. You can maybe attract some local people in the area. You just have to have a location and a time. So I immediately thought of Eventbrite as a way because it doesn't really cost anything unless you go to a higher level of their service.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to comment on that aspect of it is, you know, our meetings are not something that we would post online. Maybe to our own group, but it's not something that we would expect somebody to sit there and watch for an hour. If you're going to do a presentation to somebody, I'll tell you this. No,
I'm not talking about posting online. I'm talking about Eventbrite is a tool to reach people to invite them to the meeting.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. No. I understand. You need somebody in the room so they can see your enthusiasm, so they can hear you. And
Exactly.
yes, I
Yeah, it's a
agree.
whole different dynamic than being in person. Most of the time when I share the business with people outside of the meeting, it's a 10 or 15-minute conversation and that's it. And
Right.
the way it goes, it depends what they have available in their area. So, you know, I mean, your back office is such a valuable tool. Like you just punch in their postal code wherever they live and pull up what's available where they can save money in their own local area. And I know a lot of
That's
people,
great.
because it's a no-brainer, that, you know, they want to go out a couple times a week and they save their whole membership fee just by going out to dinner and a show a couple times a month, you know, so it depends, you know. Other people might be interested in getting a cell phone or something like that. And you probably heard this before, is if, you know, you just say, you know, if I could save you the amount of the membership fee by getting you hooked up with a new cell phone and a new provider, would you join the business? You know, come right up front and talk to them about that. And it's kind of a no-brainer. It's already paid for it, you know?
Right.
Sharon, we have a question here in the chat that wants to know, when you post the ad, what do you say for the follow-up conversation when people inquire?
I'm hoping that they are going to just go to that video or to my Rev system, my funnel system. And, you know, if they text me and say, what is this all about? Depends on how much communication. If it's a phone call or a text, you have to kind of feel out the situation. But what I really want to say is I probably couldn't give you a haircut over the phone. You know, so it'd be better if we met and you could hear everything that you need to hear. Agreed? You know, and so something like that. My biggest thing is sell a meeting, sell a meeting, sell a meeting. It's not to dump the truck on the phone or in a text, you know. So something along that lines is you're not going to get the benefit of the full picture if I start to explain it to you. I really need to get with you, you know.
Yeah. Another line we use sometimes too is it's only an hour and it could change your life. You know, so.
Any questions?
I don't know if we finished up, if Yvette got all of her question answered there or not.
Yes. I too was, the follow-up is good. The follow-up is good. In the meeting, how do you start? You said you started with the vision piece, but how do you actually start? We're here to tell you about, what do you say when you start? What are they here for?
We don't actually start with the vision piece. That comes later. What we do is AJ puts on a countdown. So people in the room can see the big visual countdown, you know, starting from 2 minutes. And they're basically being told to sit down. The meeting's going to start in a polite way.
Okay.
And then, you know, I just get up and I just say, welcome here, everybody, you know, to, you're going to see about something that's different. And I go into that little line, you know, I know you're saying you've heard this before, but you've never heard this before, you know.
Okay.
Something different, you know, just kind of go like that. And I just kind of introduce AJ. And then he talks about the product, a little bit like the leadership, the guiding principles, those type of things. And I don't get into the vision until the end because we develop the vision quite a bit and that's what we want to leave them with.
Yeah, another thing.
Okay, great.
Beginning too is we talk about different companies that have revolutionized the culture. And that's what our network is. It's one of those type of companies that's going to change the way you live. There's different companies that have come out over time, like Amazon, changed the way we shop, or Uber,
yes.
or, you know, PayPal, changed online payments, I think, it's like that. So our network is one of those kind of companies that's going to change the way people live. You know, it's a revolution that we need to get involved in. You're gonna get sucked into it one way or another. You know, not
Yes.
I don't know if that's the best terminology, but you're gonna come into this revolution either as a bystander or as a part of the network. You know.
I love that. Yeah, you're coming in anyway because people
eventually it's gonna happen.
Yes, and I've used the analogy of this is the next iPhone. I said, it's going to be bigger than iPhone, I believe. That's what I've told people. I said, because people are not going to, you're going to have to communicate with your customers, with your colleagues. Everybody's going to say, well, where's your card? You know, don't you have a Rev card? Everybody's going to want one. You know, it's like, so I don't know. Thank you. I think
That's
you
awesome. Thank you.
Hey, this is Robert. Real quick, I have a quick question. Is
Sure.
there any way you guys can like write stuff down and send it to John, like your script or whatever, like your presentation?
Well, that's also why we're recording this call. I mean, if that's something that they would like to do, but I know that they're very much on a time crunch and I think a lot of things that they do is just off the cuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
every situation is different for everyone. And so your conversation is going to change.
Exactly. Yeah.
You have to
Okay.
know your audience and you know who you're speaking to. And I love what John says. There's so many verticals that something in this company is going to turn your fanny on. You know? He doesn't say it quite like that, but there's just so many verticals. You got to figure out, it's your job to figure out what vertical is going to attract that person that you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
We actually have a request also, if you can record one of your meetings so that we can all see it. And I know that you guys are getting ready to start doing that. You're getting ready to start doing live Zooms. Isn't that right?
That's correct. Yeah, we've got quite a good setup right now, but we haven't had the opportunity or the facilities to be able to record live, but we're getting very close to that.
Well, the Zooms are limited by 40 minutes or something, so we have to change the account or whatever it is.
I have a question for you, AJ. I looked at a video today by Ed Terranova, and he had 5 points that you can use. Invite your prospects and present. If you're not a good presenter, you can get somebody else to do the presentation.
Absolutely.
Enroll, which really means to close. There are people that are expert closers. Launch, that means get the person involved, get them in the units, and then finally promote. So he was promote the calls, promote our launch. These, if you only do one, number one, invite a person to to take a look at the opportunity and to promote getting on a call. Do you guys use that strategy in your work?
In our network?
Yeah, when you are, I know you're using ads and everything, but you know, I thought it was really simple to just invite a person to take a look at this, and then
that's
get them on a call.
Yeah, that's really one of the things that we do, but we don't want to discourage people from other things either. There's also many other different ways, like you were saying, Zoom meetings, you know, with some of your upline with different people is very, very helpful tool. Online presentations and things like that. If you're doing other things, Laura's been working on the social networking aspect of it and has some amazing things. So it's not one way, you know, and there's many, many different ways. That's the way we started off and what worked for us in the beginning. We took the pressure off a lot of people. They don't have to. It really gives them the opportunity to be able to learn and grow in the group environment before they start to handle objections on their own. So, and I'll tell you this too, there is a definite link between the number of people that you invite out and the big and how fast your group grows. So we have it clear in our group that the ones that invite the most people out every week have the biggest groups. And it's just a numbers thing, you know. Stay connected, stay engaged, do what you can until you are able to do more. I know, like I said, Sharon was there in the beginning with me faithfully every week, just bringing people out, and she was able to step right in and do the presentation when I couldn't be there. And she had a similar experience with one of her downline. that, and maybe you want to share that. You know, she was going to do a meeting for her, but she got called to work in the last minute. And maybe you can share a little bit about that.
And that was, you know, it was a very difficult situation because you never want to, you know, if people have got people coming to a meeting, you don't want to put that off. You know, you don't want to call everybody and say, hey, we'll hit you next week. Strike when the iron's hot, right? When people are excited about it. And so, you know, we have a group, as Laura has said, that there's a lot of great leaders. And so because they were at the meeting every week, and it just so happened that I had to call them right before the meeting and say, you know, there's been a mix-up at my work. I cannot do this meeting. Our great leader, Nellie Antic and Teresa Gilbo, just jumped right into action. And they had been at every meeting. So they knew the material. And they'd never done a meeting before, and they stepped right up, and they might have even closed 3 people that day, I think, you know, or whatever. So it's just great to see that the company is duplicatable. There's sound principles, and when people have the concepts and just kind of get right in there and they learn, they can do it just like we do it, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you, because this stuff works. I know that if you know who you're talking to, just a little bit, you really just need to know whether or not they are interested in earning money, saving money, or both. And when you know the answer to that, you can plug them into being a fan, or you can invite them to be a member. It's great.
It is. And I think a big thing is getting to know the vertical. What vertical works turns them on. You know, one of the verticals is going to hit their hot button. When I was in sales before, that's what it was all about. Hit that hot button, because something that I think is the neatest thing, and John has demonstrated this by asking questions in groups about what's the thing that you like the best about our network. They're always different answers. So if you're going on about what you like about it, it's not going to mean as much to them as what they like about it. And that's why that question is so powerful too. What's the best thing you liked about the meeting? Or, you know.
Thank you. You guys are terrific. Thank you. This call is terrific. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Teresa, did you have a question?
I do. May I ask a follow-up question to something you said earlier? Thanks,
Yes.
Victoria. Someday we're going to meet. You mentioned that you're using, in your ads, you're suggesting that they log into your Rev System account. And I'm just curious if you've been successful with the Rev System. I'm not hearing a lot of chatter from people about if like the follow-up emails are effective, if people are actually opting in. And I would love to hear what you guys are doing with that.
Like for me personally, I've had, you know, maybe 6 or 8 people log in. Now keep in mind, what we're talking about is all I've ever placed. And so out of those 3 ads, I probably have 6 or 8 people logged in.
Pastor, excuse me, Sharon. Pastor, can you mute your mic for just a moment? Thank you. Go ahead, Sharon.
So, you know, I haven't placed a lot of ads, but I have had people log into the Rev System, and I haven't had conversions at this point. I always get back to them. But you know what? My thought about the Rev System is that you can't really evaluate it on a short-term basis. The idea is that the company is going to drip on them. And some people it takes longer than others. Most of the people that because of where I've chose to advertise, are Canadians. And so, as I said, they're a little bit slower to get warmed up, you know, but, you know, I just keep in contact with them. And I do believe in the Rev System. I just believe we need to evaluate it on a bigger scale than just a few months, you know?
Yeah, I think we're at the very beginning of that. And again, it's you know, every time we do something new, there's a little bit of a learning curve in it too. And I'm learning with my people on the Rev System too, that it's better to incorporate Zoom, because people don't know you. They're coming, you know, when they can see your face, they can read your facial expressions and things like that. It's a whole different ball game than just talking to somebody that doesn't know you from Adam over the phone. So we're experimenting with new things, and we're growing with that as well. And I think it's going to get better and better as we go.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I add to that Rev System? I use the Rev System. I have had people sign up on the Rev System that I've never even talked to. But that's maybe unusual. But it's the marketing of how you bring people to come to know about the Rev system, how you get them plugged in. If you're writing a blog and you're talking about something, you can mention, without mentioning the company, but you have to have some way to get people into the system. And it has to do with, talking about your lifestyle, talking about whatever you're talking about that piques a person's curiosity. And once they get in that system, they kind of already have an idea about who you are without even knowing them. If they're on your Facebook page or something like that, and once they get into the Rev system, it's a great tool because the videos are professional and they are automatically dripped to every other day or every 3 days or whatever it is. So that's working in the background for you. It takes a moment. You have to be patient with that if you're not used to marketing to get people into a funnel. But I promise you, it works. It's a business tool that you can use in your business. And the other thing is when you have people on your team who sign up and use the Rev system, it costs you nothing. Get 3, they're not charging you for it. I can't say enough about it. If people want to talk to me individually about it, feel free, because I use it a lot and it really, really converts. I mean, sometimes somebody had gotten in, saw 2 videos, sent me an email right quick, and the next thing I know, he signed up. So
I want to mention one thing that you said, and you said, it's the curiosity, and that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yes,
It's curiosity. People cannot stand not knowing. Inquiring minds want to know.
That is so true. And they're curious about you. They're curious about what you are doing. And, I mean, people are curious about a lot of things because when they look at a picture, they're imagining themselves, if they're curious about it, they're imagining themselves doing something similar. So when you showcase your enthusiasm for life and what you are doing, people will be attracted to you if they have similar interests, and they're going to want to know, how do you get to do that? I want to do that too. That's what curiosity marketing will do.
I guess that's why you're all here today, right?
I'm curious.
Can I just say one thing?
Laura?
This is Nora. I live in a little tiny town in Ontario called Godfrey. I don't know how many people there are, but I do find it challenging. So I am really, truly blessed to be on this team and with AJ and Sharon. And it's been challenging for me. I live where a whole bunch of old farmers live. They don't have computers. They don't have. So I'm learning how to do it more online, which I wasn't used to before. But I really, really am glad that Juanita, who's been a friend for years, thought of me when she first got into this.
Well, you've got a lot of courage and determination, Nora, and we love you, and we're just so excited about the fact that you are not going to let anything dissuade you,
Oh, you bet I'm not.
That's what it's about. I mean, that's what I love about rNetwork, is just that camaraderie and the love that you build with your team. It really is. I mean, you hear John say, love you. I'm starting to say love you in my text, and I'm like, okay, that was interesting. But it's true. But it's so true, because you really want to, the betterment of others. I mean, that's what this is really all about. Dawn, did you have a question, or did someone else on the phone have a question?
Laura, this is Linda in Argo, Idaho. Hey, talking about small towns, that's where I'm at. But I'm driving across the desert, and I was wondering if there was some way along what Nora was just talking. Can you guys put those websites for the free ads down here in the United States on a text message or an email or something? Because we're driving, or I'm driving, and I can't.
Yeah, we can put that in a post on John's group. How about that?
Oh, that would be awesome, because I've been driving for the last hour and trying to write notes. It's not working.
And I have, while they've been coming through, I've been actually copying and pasting on my desktop so that
you are awesome.
We can utilize that information.
Okay, super leader. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate you.
Dawn, what you got going?
I had a question earlier. I just wondered if AJ and Sharon could explain how long their meetings go for. Are you trying to keep it within an hour, the whole thing? Do you tell people up front it's only going to be an hour, half hour? What do you do?
Absolutely. We tell them right off the get-go that we're going to try and keep it within an hour. And we're usually either a couple minutes early or a couple minutes out. We don't normally go over, but we're usually right on.
We're finding it a little bit of a challenge lately because the company keeps bringing out more stuff for us to share. We get there and it's like we don't even know what we're saying from one week to the next because there's so much new stuff constantly, but we're pretty committed to the hour. We feel like, you know, you have to be a person of your word. You don't want to really discourage people or make them upset or things like that. So we really work hard at sticking to an hour.
Yeah, and you know what? People don't have to know everything up front, you know, and that's the thing is, again, be enthusiastic about what you're doing and give them some information, enough to really show a vision, right? Get them involved, and that's all you really need. So you could even do it in a shorter time period if you wanted to. But as long as you're enthusiastic about it and you give them some information, like I said, when I'm talking to people one-on-one, it's usually 10 or 15 minutes. So, you know, this is actually, the meeting's really good for people that have heard about it. Their friends have told them about it and they want to hear more. So, you know, it's really good for that because we can get into a little bit more information in that, you know. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
We've been going for an hour here. So, you know, the general rule is keep it under an hour. And now well, we're still a little bit under an hour because we didn't start the recording yet. So if there's, maybe we can take one or two more questions and then just kind of end the call there.
I just want to say thank you. Oh, one more question. How long do you think it would take to, I'm by myself here, my team members are in other places, but do you think it would be advisable to at least recruit a person who can do this with you? How long did it take you guys to get up and running from 1 to 2 and then be able to conduct a meeting like this?
I want to say one thing, Yvette. It would be advisable to recruit whoever you darn well can.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No, I would, you know, I got 3 people actually were ready to sign up the first day. So as soon as we could get them involved, they came in and we started the meeting with those 3 people and a few of their friends. So we started with a handful of people and went from there.
Okay.
Yeah, also, Yvette, this is John, really quick, a great question. I always say the buddy system is the best system. And so if you can get somebody locally, what's going to happen is you're going to push each other to make sure you do your meetings. You're going to push each other and remind each other and stuff. And so, there's always, I call it the power of 2. There's always power in numbers. And so if you can get somebody locally and help them become a leader in your local market, your market will grow, well, twice as fast, right? Because actually faster than that, because you'll push each other a little more. So it's an excellent idea to try to get somebody local as well. And what you want to do is, the key is simple to me. You need 3 for free, then you need 10 for ownership. Right? I don't even say 10 for founder anymore. I say 10 for ownership. Say, if you really want to excite people about it, to say, you know, if I have a prospect on the call now, they want to know why they should get to a meeting, and just say, you know what, I can't explain to you in 5 minutes how you can actually be a part owner of this company. And I would like to explain to you what this company is, where it's going, who's behind it, the potential of the size, and how you can actually become an owner, not just a member. And I need that hour to explain that to you. Otherwise, I'm doing you a huge injustice. Stuff like that. And
got it.
That's a lot more direct or whatever, but you just say flat out, it's impossible to explain to you in an email or a text or even a video or in 5 minutes how you can actually become a shareholder in this company and what we're doing. You've really got to come see this, no strings attached. What day, you know, tomorrow at 5, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And as Rudy says, bring ice. Give them an assignment. That's actually pretty smart. Give them an assignment.
Okay, one more quick question. If I'm going to talk to somebody, like I'm going someplace this evening, if I were to bring a couple materials with me, just to illustrate what I'm talking about, what 2 or 3 PDFs should I always have on me?
It depends where you're going. So the new PDF I'm about to put out would be a good one. That's going to come Monday because we're waiting for the announcements. So we're going to do one for the team and one for the company. So I would look at those. And right now, I'd say wait till Monday and we'll have 2 PDFs I would be very comfortable taking with me anywhere.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, guys, I think that's a wrap. So thank you so much, Sharon and AJ, for sharing your experiences. You are, I've seen you grow from nothing. And I am very blessed to be able to talk to you guys frequently and to be able to see your experiences, hear your experiences. You have a phenomenal team, and it's because of the life that you breathe into it every single day. And so I just want to thank you again for doing this call. And I will get the recording out ASAP as soon as it finishes processing through Zoom. So thanks everyone for joining.
Awesome. We were glad.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon and AJ.
Welcome.
And Sharon, I want to thank you for your help with Gary. I just saw this afternoon, Rosie's all signed up and ready to go.
Hey,
Gary is my first guy, and he's already got one.
Great.
Excellent, excellent.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
John, you're going to have to end the meeting.